election of chairman. Is there a nomination?
Yep, I would like to propose Kay. She's always done a great job in the past.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to second that, David?
Okay.
Thanks, David. That'd have been awkward otherwise.
Okay, Kay.
That would be the end of the meeting to start.
Right. Have we got any apologies? We obviously haven't.
No.
Well, I'm assuming Mary's an apology. I think Mary might be watching it on YouTube because it is a public meeting, but can't get through to join.
Yes, she's having great difficulty.
If
Right.
it's okay, I'll phone and just see if Alan and Jeff can get through.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Do we
continue.
have we any declarations of interest? No. Minutes of the previous meeting. I don't have them with me, so has anybody got any anything to say about them? As they're
There
correct?
are minutes on the agenda. Okay, there were minutes there.
Yes, I've read them, but I haven't been able to pull them off. So
Oh, so they're
sorry.
on your phone somewhere.
Yeah.
And you daren't try and find them because you might lose the meeting. Fair enough.
You all. So they're all correct then. I presume everybody's agreed with them. So that's fine. And we come to the Countryside Services Rangers report. Simon.
Okay. I've sent the Rangers report, but there's obviously a few points I'll just pick up on the previous minutes, which I haven't mentioned in my agenda to start with, in my report. First one then, the Bullmarsh Pond transfer. There is no progress as such. However, it is being looked at the moment. I've been in touch with the one of the directors and somebody called Fran Hobson, who's looking into that alongside the council's team responsible for all the sayings and new sites coming over. So that ties back in with our planning teams with regards to the handover, because there was a lease agreement set up for 2013 where it should have been transferred over to us. So they're now looking into why it hasn't done. So nothing's happened. However, I'd like to think something will be happening soon, in the fact that we are, there are a lot of people looking into that one at the moment. Okay, so we are stepping forward on that one. I certainly pushed even today that we're very keen that it does get transferred across, because actually it's quite an important link for that site. And from what I understand, there's going to be a sort of 30-40 metre buffer zone at the bottom of the playing fields to join up with the woodland, as in Highwood, and that pond area. So it's quite an important link up for wildlife and for people with the bridleway that goes through there. So, I've said you guys are obviously all really keen that it happens as well. I've never spoke out of turn on that one, but I know we raise it year in, year out as to what is happening. So that's the Bullmarsh Pond update as such. Next one that was on the old Rangers report about cycling. We put some signs up on site at the moment about cycling. Please cycle with consideration for other users. They weren't specifically, I know we haven't had any reported issues at Highwood, but we have had on a couple of other sites, we've had a few issues with cyclists herring round. So I had to get some signs made up for that site. And I thought at the same point, they're cheap enough. I'll have some, and we can have some on the main thoroughfare for Highwood. So there was a couple of signs just gone up there over the last week.
Thank you very much.
Can I just say, Kay, Jeff can hear us and see us, but can't speak. And Al is trying to get in, but just can't get in. He keeps on saying connected, and then it falls out. So that's the situation at the moment.
Well, welcome you two. Right.
Okay.
News. That's good news, because cyclists just need to be reminded that other people use the woods as well as them.
Yeah, and that may, to be honest with you, I would imagine a lot of the time it's kids herring to and from school and things, and that's really not happening. All of our usual sort of user groups and user problems have sort of dissipated, and we've gained a whole load of new problems and user groups. So, yeah, that's possibly why we haven't had that many issues in that respect, other than the fact that it is so busy.
Well, actually, we found that they're adults, not children, that actually go through the woods quite a lot at speed. Right. Yes.
Well, okay. Well, hopefully the signs will make some sort of impact, or certainly sort of prick their conscience a little bit. The next one I did put, which from previously about the Highwood web page. Now, I did fire across to you guys, or it's you, Laura, Kay, and Jenny, I think. We have now a page. We're doing a page for every one of our sites, which is all being created at the moment. We have the Highwood one basically finished, which I fired over to you, which is a fairly basic map, description. That's about it, really. Some wildlife facts up there. That's all ready to go. And as soon as we get the opportunity, we'll go live on that one. But
it looks fantastic.
It's all done and ready to go anyway. So
yeah, it's got all the information you need. The map is very clear, including all the access points, and it just is very easy to read. So yeah, that's been fantastic. So thank you for your work on that, Simon.
No worries. The next point 7 on the previous report about the new dog bin at Carla Home site entrance. That's in place. That's the from the new estate. We've got the dog bin in place there. So yeah, that happened back in the summer. So it's been up there for quite a while. But unless you come in from that direction, you probably wouldn't notice that one. Okay, that's all.
Have noticed it, and thank you very much for doing it, Simon, because actually some people, their dog does their business and then they've got to carry it all around the woods, but there is halfway so they can actually deposit it. It was very well welcomed anyway. Thank you very much.
That's okay. There's 3 bins off 3 of the main entranceways, and isn't there?
Yes.
Kingfisher, High Tree, and that site there. I can't think of the name of it. Blackstone?
Yeah, Blackstone.
Yeah, Blackstone. Yeah. So those are the 3 entrances. Right, on to the report really for this year. Management tasks. Some of it's been happening quite well. We did another Heathland compartment with the scraping, as I'm sure some of you noticed, because we ruined some of the footpaths with bits of mud. But we've scraped that all up and hopefully tidied some of that up. But it worked so well, that first Heathland scrape, that we've done another section. So hopefully next year we can. Well, we were going to go and have a visit up there this year, weren't we? That was going to be one of our evening sort of jollies, as it were, come May, June time, to go and have a look around the site, etc. And you'd have seen how well it's been going. But maybe this year we might be fortunate enough to get out for that one. So yeah, that's happened. That scrape up there. We've also had a gentleman offer us up to £800 to do some work on the Heathland, because he really likes the Heathland. He thinks it's great. And we've sort of decided the best thing to do with that money is throw it at some of the sort of professional volunteer groups, like sort of BTCV and Conserve Reading on Wednesdays, those sort of volunteers, to do the scrub bashing there, because that £800 will actually provide sort of 10-15 work party days up there, which would be really good for getting a lot of the taller vegetation out of the Heathland area. So again, the plan was it was going to happen. Well, I think we've cancelled 5 of their programmed days so far because of COVID. But we'll see what happens, whether or not we get the opportunity, certainly, through to the end of March, April, or whether it's something we'll pick up later in the summer. So if not, we'll be doing it next winter. So it's still programmed there. It's still likely to happen. It just hasn't been able to happen just yet, unfortunately. General rangering issues. There have been 5 instances of fly tipping, garden waste reported to us. And we have on, I think certainly on one occasion, I think 2 occasions, cleaned out the Kingfisher ditch and cleaned out reported blockages there. I think the drains there do just block up with the leaves and then it all starts to overflow. So I know that's happened on 2 occasions at the moment.
Can I just ask how bad the fly tipping has been?
No, it's not bad at all. 2 or 3 bags.
Yeah.
To be honest
Just
with you,
incidental bits, which you always think, well, if you've only got this much, why'd you bother? But
it's almost like people would go there, park up in the driveway off Kingfisher to take their dog for a walk, and as they put their dog in the back of the car, they throw 2-3 bags into the ditch. So it's all quite small scale, but quite petty, really.
And you would think people who walk dogs wouldn't do. Sorry, I'm being biased, aren't I?
No, actually, a lot of the dog walkers have stopped people from tipping when they've seen them. They've stood there and watched, and so they haven't tipped because they won't do it if someone's actually watching. So a lot of the dog walkers have actually prevented fly tipping. But you find a lot of people, if they find fly tipping, they'll report it straight away to Wokingham. They won't bother Dinton. So some of it's gone, but it's not a huge problem.
Most of the localities reported fly tipping does come straight back to us at Dinton K. So they know we're fairly quick to respond, really. So, if it is reported through the official channels, as it were, those official channels come straight to Dinton to say, this is one of your sites and you've got fly tipping up there. So, we do get on the case really fairly quickly. But it's all been small stuff. Nothing major at all for the site. We did have one reported incident of aggressive cycling in the woodland. Somebody, I think a dog walker had said, you're going too quick and, calm down, and then got a load of verbal from them, which, no description at all, but they did only the once. So whether or not that's a regular user who's just calmed it down after that, or just somebody who was just aimlessly, cycling around because they're bored in lockdown, I don't know. But, that's the only incident that I'm aware of this year reported to us. The chances are there's been a few more and people have just swallowed it and carried on because they knew there's not much we can do about it. So you'll possibly hear more about things like that than I will, to be honest with you. BTCV have been monitoring the regeneration areas of some of the laurel we've cleared. So that's a sort of a wildlife monitoring program, really, to see how well the regeneration of natural woodland comes back after we've cleared some of these laurel areas. So that's all quite positive, that there is a fair bit of regeneration, which is what we want to see. We obviously want to encourage that, and we do a bit of planting as well with sort of hazels, rowan and other trees and small sort of whips, hedgerow whips, etc., getting planted through there. So that's quite a positive one. We had 89 volunteer days this year. Like I say, the sad thing is we should have had probably 3-4 times that number, but obviously with the the COVID issues, things like that have been hit quite hard, as well as some of our works, to be honest with you, because a lot of our staff are having to be sort of seconded for marshalling and elsewhere in the council, as well as on our own sites. Quite a few of our staff are, instead of out carrying out lots of maintenance, are having to just control and manage people on the sites these days. And I know we haven't over at Highwood at all, because we haven't had any issues at Highwood, but lots of our other sites, we've just sent staff out there for the day who are in high-vis jackets, actually just speaking to people for the day, ensuring that they are abiding by the COVID restrictions with regards to groups, no parties, maintaining 2 meters social distance, things like that, which it's frustrating when we can certainly see lots of our work not happening. However, I suppose we can always coppice and fence and hedgerow next year rather than this year. So, that's the gist of things on that front anyway, which is a bit of a shame. We did have some Addington School people on working with us this year, which went fantastically well. They were, not quite apprenticeships, but we're looking into apprenticeships for them. But they certainly came to work with us really for the last year or two, working with the team on all sorts of practical work, which was nice, and that was a big help to us when we're out doing these sort of tasks. That's probably it on the volunteer side of things.
Sorry, can I just ask about Addington? That was you said that was quite positive.
Oh, very much so. Yes.
Will you expand that a bit, or is that two's about the number that you can take?
It was. We can probably we had 3, maximum of 3, but that was as many as we could take in the early days. Then we had to drop the numbers back. We ended up with 1 towards the tail end of the summer going into the autumn, and then we had to stop that because of the COVID issues after that. Yeah. The council are keen to expand, and we've been involved in that, and they are looking to try and put more placements within the borough. Whether or not we can, the problem we have is it all comes down to their abilities. Two of them could work one-on-one with us all quite happily. The third did have to have somebody with them all the time. So, depending on their ability will depend on whether or not they need to have staff supervision with them, or whether or not they can just tie in with the team we've got here.
Yeah, their ability makes a difference to the input that you have to put, and that's obvious.
Yeah.
But it's, that's positive that they feel useful as well as being useful.
They absolutely, you can see them. They've so come out of their shells after being with us for 6 months. They really have. It's
that's great. And it's good for you as well, because you can see that you're making a difference to some people's lives.
Yeah. Their confidence as well. Forget what they learn with regards to skills, forgetting all of that, their confidence in dealing with other people other than their small circle of associates. That, they struggle with that to start with, but after a while, they really come out to the point they'll even start talking to members of the public about what they're doing, whereas,
they're proud.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
That's
so
great.
that's been a really, really good project for us to get involved in, and the council. They were also putting students in the libraries in the council main office when in Chute End, and at some of the other schools and other departments as well. So it was a really positive experience for them and for us.
You said that the council's looking into apprenticeships.
Yes.
Or is it specifically for countryside stewardship and particularly for Addington students or wider?
We were looking at apprenticeships, possibly with tying in with Berkshire College of Agriculture. So they could go and do a placement. They can do a placement with us, sort of 1, 2, 3 days a week, and then at the same time they're in full-time education there. So I suppose it's the right student wanting to do the right course that can tie in with the college. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it'd be really good. Be
very positive.
Yes, it's a really good way to start everything off, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really good. And a couple of the lads we've had here have been fantastic, and they've got so much out of it as well. So that's a really good thing as well. And it's quite sad, really, that it's all had to stop. Because of COVID, because they were doing so well, and even now they're like, what's the chances of us coming back next month, and will we be able to come out, and that we can't at the moment. We're not having any volunteer tasks at all, so we're not having any volunteers working alongside us, and our team is sort of split up into pairs. They stick to those pairs, and just for our own sort of security and benefits as well. So no, we're not in a position that we can do anything at the moment, which is quite unfortunate. Next year's programme, which I suppose is now this year's work programme, or this winter, more rhododendron work, scrub removal on the heathland, as I mentioned, certainly with some of these volunteer groups, which will be funded by this gentleman. I'd like to think we'll do another day's scraping on there, but I need to tie that in better on the date wise and the weather wise, because that was the issue we had last year, that it was actually raining when it was happening, and by taking all the materials off site, it was only, I think it was only 8 or 10 tractor movements off the site, but it was enough in those wet conditions that it did mess the path up from the heathland down to the main access point. So we had to do some sort of remedial works afterwards, but it was unfortunate we had to get to that, but that was just because it was horrendous weather when we were doing it.
Yeah.
The other thing which I put on there is where the reed bed establishment on South Lake. I know it's not Highwood, but I've sort of taken ownership of that one now, and I'm going to make sure it does happen. We've had some success in small areas, but we're probably, in my head, no more than 20% of what we planted is actually survived to this point, which is nowhere near good enough. So I'm going to have another go at that this year. We will be getting in some big coir rolls and staking that down and planting into those, so the reeds can hopefully get established in those coir rolls. Yeah, the issue seems to be the ground is so hard in front of the revetment, which we obviously want to hide and protect, that the reeds just struggle to take hold in there. It's almost like concrete in the front. And some of the better areas where we ended up with the reeds coming through, we actually had the mini digger there sort of scarifying up the lake bed so they can loosen it up so we can plant in it properly. So we're having to think again as to how we can get that established and improve on that. So yeah, I shall be doing that regardless this year and making sure that we have another go on that, and we'll keep going until we can get something sorted on there.
Is the angling club helping you with it?
No, well, they would do if I asked them, but I won't be asking them. I'll just be cracking on with that one. They're obviously, they've got works they're doing. They'll be doing, I think, some more of the algae, the barley straw rolls. They'll be doing bits like that. They'll be getting on with that. I'll be sorting out the reed beds. There's no doubt they would help me. But like I say, I shall just be cracking on and trying to get something sorted on that front as well.
Brilliant. Good luck with it. Sounds like a challenge.
It is really, which is why I think I'm just going to spend some money and get some of these big sort of coconut rolls in and peg those down and actually do the planting in that to get the plants established. So yeah, it'll be an ongoing one, that, because even at the end of this year, I would imagine I'm still going to be trying to do a bit of work on there next year. So watch this space on that front, but we will get the reed beds established through there. Once they get going, they'll probably be fine. It's just that first year to get them started.
Maybe they'll stop the smell.
They'll help, definitely, because they will help take away some of the nutrients and break down the leaf litter and the rest of it around there. So yes, they'll certainly help on that front. That's about it, really. So the last point I got down there is the Conserve Reading on Wednesday group have been commissioned for some dates. Yeah, we've had a couple of groups commissioned to do a load of dates over there, and all on hold at the moment. But it will all be it'll be back up and running first as soon as we can get things back up on and running again with volunteers. So when's that likely to be? Maybe May, June time if we're lucky.
Yes.
It isn't going to be before then.
I'm sorry?
It isn't going to be before then.
It isn't, is it?
Let's be realistic.
That's right. It's really sad, but it's going to take a while before things get back.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have Frida, because obviously she hasn't been able to get hold of get through on the new technology. So I'll speak for her, because we know that you've done an enormous amount of work in the Highwood this year. I mean, as you all know, I walk the Highwoods nearly every day, and you can see the improvements happening all the time. And the clearance of the laurels has been absolutely fantastic. It's been a huge task, and it's been done really well. So we all want to thank you all, Simon, for your hard work. We really do appreciate it, and all the people that walk the woods and are near the woods really appreciate all the work you've done. And I must say, it's been so noticeable. Every day when we go up there, there's been something done, and especially when the volunteers were up there, it was a huge amount of work they all did. And I want to thank you anyway
Thank you
for all your hard work.
I suppose I didn't quite touch onto it too much, but we have now spent all of our £18,000 on footpath works. However, you did say to us earlier on, you haven't been up there for a while because the footpaths are such a state.
That's fine.
So,
I haven't the last couple of weeks.
So I take it we're talking the paths we've missed as such, or the main path, which is just wider and it's got the mulch and muck all over it.
Yes, the main path has been absolutely appalling, and the smaller paths that you can cut across aren't that bad, but it's the main path with you're getting all the people going around all the time, and it's just destroying the whole lot. It's making it awful. And as you know, I've got 2 little dogs, and they're white, and
they're very white.
and it's really bad to take them around the woods. So we've all missed out on that. So hopefully we get some dry weather soon, and we'll be able to go back up there again. But no, the paths have been pretty bad.
Okay. Well, although we've run out of that money, you know, the Countryside Service obviously has a budget for managing its site. So I'll get up there and I'll have a look to see if we've got any really bad spots that need repairs later on this year, and we just have to use some of our own budget for doing that. You know, it's a limited budget, but it's certainly okay for sort of spot repairs and really bad patches for whatever reason within the site. So yeah, we can.
I know that we were emailing about the massive puddle leading into the Highwood from High Tree Drive, and maybe some wood chips could be put on there. I don't know if you know if that's doable, or there might be some budget for that.
We can. Well, we have bits and bobs like that. The one thing I was going to say about wood chips is great as a really quick fix solution. Okay, so to put them down right now, yeah, we'll have no problems at all. However, give it a month, those have broken down with people through it, and you've got that puddle, which is then deeper with a bit of woody mulch in there, which is almost a bit like mud. So I'll have a quick look at that, because that might be a really easy one for us just to sort of build it up a little bit with some road planings. And yeah, when I put the road planings down, I like the idea that we can put a few wood chips on the top, because then they mulch into it and you don't look like you're walking on a road. So yeah, we can have a look at that one and see if we can get that sorted.
Well, thank you very much anyway, Simon. Has anybody else got anything that they wish to add to the comments, Simon?
Oh, I've got a few questions for Simon. So on the Bullmarsh Pond transfer, was I right in hearing you say that it should have been transferred in 2013?
Well, yes. I was shown a lease agreement. Yeah, yes. a lease agreement, a handover agreement. Let's see if I can just lift that up from. Yes, the whole agreement was set up when probably from the development, when the development was happening. Yes. Okay, dated 2013 between Wokingham Council and the University of Reading. So back then there was the all the development going on. That was obviously part and parcel of ground that should have been handed over to us. Yeah. So from that point on, you question why it hasn't done, but we are now sort of certainly there are people now working on that to try and find out and pursue that one and make sure it happens, because we're obviously quite keen that it still happens, as it were. But that was all down to the development of the site as well. So that was all part and parcel of that. So that's where I got that date from. So yeah, it just needs to be picked up, which, like I say, is being picked up now by one of our, let's say, Francesca Hobson's got hold of that, and she came to me on that one and asked about it, and somebody called Raymond Barry, who's the Green Infrastructure Delivery Officer. So he gets involved a lot more in the sites that are coming over to us at which point he then chats to me about when they do come over to us about taking them on. So those are, yeah, Raymond's probably the guy who will be dealing with that one. And yeah, I'll be pursuing that with him now. Now I've got a couple of people that I know are dealing with it. I'll be pushing back, and I can keep people informed as to what the score is on that as and when. But so I did ask the question earlier on today, and was told, yeah, we should be pushing with this. It should have happened. It's obviously been missed. It's not been happening up to now. Now we need to pursue it and make sure it does, does get completed and comes over to us. So
with the timeline, do you think by this time next year the council will have
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I'd like to think so. It depends on whether there was a reason why it hasn't done. If it was sort of dropped because suddenly there was a difficult transfer for whatever reason with regards to negotiating with the university or the developers, then we might just suddenly pick it up again now and realise that there was a problem, which is why it was dropped, and we can't see a solution around that problem. But on the other hand, it might just be it was dropped and now we need to get on with it.
Well, I think I was involved with it, and it was definitely something with the university.
Yeah.
We lots and lots of talks with them, and it was supposed to be happening, and then it just didn't. You know what the university's like; they're not very forthcoming if they think that they might be giving up something.
Yeah.
And nobody was looking after it. It's a disgrace actually, and it's not very good for the wildlife. So I'm glad to hear that you're at last managing to get someone to look at it. Thank you.
And then just on bins, do we have enough bins around Highwood? Because I know around South Lake in the summer, because loads of people visited there, it got super busy and the council upped its collection frequency, and that seemed to sort it out. But I didn't know if you'd seen an increase in litter over the summer, or you're concerned with the bins.
No, I'm not concerned. The issue, it's the same problems we've had at Dinton. It's not that we haven't got enough bins. It's just that they're not being emptied often enough. So we've had bins at Dinton that we've been having to empty 7 days a week. Whereas the contract, which is right across the borough, is twice a week emptying.
Yeah.
So there's no way we could end up having a contract for a 7 day a week emptying, through a contractor. So we've had to sort of take the slack up on that on the country parks. On top of the twice a week emptying at Highwood, we've certainly had staff visiting there every week doing a litter pick. And at the same time, they would also empty the bins. So we've upped that from 2 to 3 times a week on the site. I haven't had any complaints about the Highwood bins, put it like that. Some of our sites I do have a few complaints about, and quite rightly, they're not being emptied. They've not been emptied quick enough. They're filling up too quickly just because of use. And we'll have to deal with that one. But Highwood isn't one that I can say I've had any complaints on at all.
No, the Wokingham Borough actually started emptying them 3 times a week before the end of the summer.
Right.
That was considerably better because there had been a problem. But no, it was the borough that actually sent the people round to empty them.
Right.
So I was quite nice. It was good, yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's all from me. Thank you, Simon.
No worries.
Sorry, can I just apologise for being later? I had a bit of a Teams technology breakdown, try again, start again. Anyway, sorry I missed the beginning. Just a comment on the university. I mean, when they want to sell some land, like at Swallows Meadow in Early, they act very quickly. So they wait for 7 years. I mean, that went through without anybody in a flash. But my only other real question is about last time you mentioned Network Rail. There's some grants from Network Rail available. Did you manage to pick up any money from Network Rail?
No, I haven't. I haven't personally dealt with Network Rail at all. I know there were other people in the council looking at some major projects for Network Rail, which I think is 250,000 trees been planted all over the place. So that was being pursued by I think Duncan Fisher, who's our biodiversity officer on that one. So I never pursued that one at all for whatever we would have wanted at Highwood, which might have been a few hundred or 1,000 trees.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Think anybody else have anything to add? No, David?
No, I'm okay. Thank you, Kay.
Right.
Just a quick update, Kay. I did
Yeah.
speak to Frida on the
Yes.
phone, and she sent her apologies and said she had nothing specific to report. She was happy the way things were going.
Yes, righty. Oh, I'm glad you managed to get hold of her. I didn't think she'd be able to cope with this modern technology. So, I mean, I think we're all struggling a little bit. And Al, you weren't the only one that had trouble getting here, I can tell you.
No, this job with Zoom.
Well, I've just managed to do Zoom, so this threw me a bit. But anyway, thank you all very much for coming, and see you next year.
Well, hopefully before.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
keep with all of you, and get your vaccinations in as soon as possible.
Yeah, thank you so much, Simon, for your management
Thank
of
you.
the Highwood under extremely difficult circumstances over the last year, when a lot of people have genuinely been enjoying it so much, it being sort of the only thing they could enjoy.
Yeah.
You've done a very good job under difficult circumstances, so thank you so much.
No problems at all. It's
Yeah.
new problems to us, but yeah, we'll be dealing with those in the spring and trying to get over that one. See what happens by the spring and
Yeah.
summer.
Let's hope we get a good one like we did that last year.
Yeah, totally.
I think if we don't, people will be actually having nervous breakdowns. So it would be good if we have some decent weather. And thank you very much. You do so much for us all. I really do appreciate it. Thank
No
you.
problems at all.
So, well, I think that's all then. Thank you all for coming, and so keep safe, keep well.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Then.
you.
Take
Bye.
care, everybody.